What is up, guys? Welcome back. Class is in session. Today, you saw the title. Don't click away. We're gonna go over the secret to dominate any martial art. This is something that a lot of guys come to me for, that they pay money. They pay money to learn this secret. I'm gonna give it away for free. Save this video, watch this video. This is not clickbait. I'm gonna tell you straight away, I'm gonna give you the answer to the test. I'm gonna give you the study guide. How to dominate any martial art, RIP easy mode. Very easy, so we're gonna get right into the video. I'm gonna be doing more videos on this whiteboard to actually teach and help educate you guys. My goal ultimately is to educate the martial artists of today, right? We're in 2026, guys. Your stuff should not be 1,000 years old, hundreds of years ago. This is 2026. Our stuff needs to be updated to the modern times. We have AI now, guys. Come on now. So I need the martial artists of the day to step up their game, to update their stuff. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm gonna help you guys to get better, to bring your old stuff up to the 2026 standard. Today we're going over the secret to dominate any martial art. And I really do mean, any. This stuff, like I said, people pay me for this stuff. And I'm gonna give it away for free. It's gonna be a really good video, I'm excited. We're gonna hop right into the video. There we go. And when I say any art, I mean any. JKD, BJJ, boxing, we got Wing Chun, any art you can think of. I'm gonna go over the secret to dominate any of them, and it's really good. So I'm gonna give you the answer. I'm gonna see, first, let me wait. I want you to think right now, what is the secret way to dominate any art? Think of it right now. You got 10 seconds, class, 10 seconds. Got it? Let's see. The secret to dominate any martial art is to master a few techniques. This is it. I see so many guys do it wrong. They go learn jiu-jitsu, they go learn wrestling, they go learn boxing, Muay Thai, and they learn as much as I can. They're a sponge, soak up all the stuff, but when they come back, they suck. I'm gonna just outright say it. They suck. I don't know what is martial artists, but martial artists are some of the dumbest guys. I'll be honest, I'm gonna say right here, they're some of the dumbest guys because they do stuff that was done thousands of years ago, but it's 2026. I think people should be trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to update their stuff and modernize it. And so I see a lot of guys that go and try to learn every technique under the sun, but then when it comes down to it, sparring and a fight, they get beat up, they lose, they don't know what to do. Because they're gonna overwhelm themselves trying to learn everything. It's not the way. The secret to dominate any martial art is to master, not learn, master a few techniques. That is the way. What do I mean by master a few techniques? In real life, in combat, shout out to James Smile, awesome martial artist. James Smile will often say, because Bruce Lee would also say, that in real life, you don't need 10 million different techniques. You don't need 10 million different strikes, blocks, effect, no. Realistically, if you got about 7 awesome techniques, 7 great techniques, you're gonna be a very hard man to beat. You're gonna be a very, very bad man. James Mel will talk about something called the tool pouch. And this is also, if you can find out for free on YouTube. He talks about the tool pouch is when you're in a fight, having a handful of techniques, keyword a handful of techniques, that you could use in a real fight. Not a ton, but techniques that give you some options that you can rely on in a fight. This is the tool pouch. We'll call it the tool pouch. Why did he say a tool, just a handful? And if you don't know who James Smile is, James Smile was taught by Bruce Lee in the 60s. And James Smile founded his own style of Kung Fu called Jeet-Kune-Do. And so, if you didn't know that, Look him up. He's an awesome martial artist, but James Mao learned under Bruce Lee. You know, the handwriting's not bad, but who cares? So James Mao is very good. He's a very good martial artist. He talks about his stuff is very effective, and it was very much for the streets. You know, stuff like Wing Chun Do, non-classical Kung Fu, and JKD. It's simplified stuff for the street because in real life, you're not going to use 10 million different stuff. If you watch, I guarantee you right now, look up any of your favorite fighters, any boxer, Kung Fu, MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo, any of them. If you watch people fight in real life or in the ring, you're gonna notice that they've mastered many arts, right? They're black belts in their regards, they've done martial arts for 10 plus years, but when they're actually fighting in the ring, they only use a handful of techniques. This is just you look at any fighter. Every fighter has a handful of techniques they use in a fight or in a ring to win. Why is this? It's because in real life, you only need a handful of techniques. That's the case. People understand, especially a real fight is pretty quick. If it's two untrained guys, it's gonna be less than 30 seconds. It's not gonna be a long time. So with that time frame, less than 30 seconds, you can't do a lot of techniques. And a lot of times, ways with just movement and sporadic movement and chaos, you only need a few things. That's what you should be really working on. Part of my training, I've done a lot of martial arts. Any martial art you can name, I've probably done it. And I'm not trying to say cool, but I do a lot of research. I train a lot. I learn from a lot of guys. And I go to a lot of seminars. And so many times I go to seminars and it'll be a great seminar. Shout out TCF, Mr. G, shout out. I don't know if he's watching this, but TCF, awesome martial art. And I'll throw some shade. I went to TCF seminar. It was awesome, amazing. I go there and we learned some dynamite, awesome stuff. It's very, very good. And now I'm back, I came back. But I know that most of the people that went there are going to forget everything they learned. Why? Because most people, they try to learn and remember everything that they learned in the seminar. They try to understand and master all the techniques, but this is wrong. What I do, and this is something that everybody should do, you try to learn how to master art, dominate an art, you start with a handful of techniques and you master those. What do I mean by that? With this TCF seminar, it was awesome. I knew that everybody, when you learn a lot of good techniques, everybody gets this. When you try to master something, you get the phrase analysis I don't know how to spell this word. Analysis paralysis. I don't know how I'm a guy who's like this. The term is referred to as, you know, when you learn a lot of stuff, you learn something, you learn a lot of things, and it overwhelms you to where you don't remember or retain anything. It's just like, you know, you go into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, you've never done it before, and then you go to it, and you're like, man, like you learned a lot of stuff, a lot of techniques, but you're kind of overwhelmed. You don't know where to start. You try to master everything, but rather, when you learn anything now, you want to focus on trying to master a couple of techniques. Because in real life, or in sparring, or in fighting, you only need to use a couple of techniques. You only need to be good at a couple of techniques. And when you look at the best fighters in any art at all, really have only mastered a handful of techniques. And that allows them to beat everybody else. It's very true. So, what I mean, we'll take JKD for example. Yet again, to be good at any art, JKD, to master a few techniques. Don't try to learn every technique in the book. Don't try to master every technique. In real life, this is one thing I train the guys with. It's about simplicity. Not trying to learn everything. When you start out, if you can try to master a handful of techniques, like let's say, if you can master the finger jab, if you can master the lead punch, if you can master the low, line, Side kick. Full line side kick. What else would you want to get? Yeah. Take down defense. And then we'll say cross. So, the guys I train, I go over this concept a lot. Like that, I don't show them every book. I don't show them every technique I know. No, I show them a few very effective techniques, and that's all we train on that day. So if you do Jeet-Kune-Do, if you can master and you can perfect the finger jab, lead punch, low line side kick, half takedown defense, and a cross, you will beat 90% of people in a fight. You will win 90% of your sparring matches. If you can just master 5 things, that's how it works. You take any fighter, Conor McGregor, what was he really good at? His cross, right? He had an incredible cross. He had a good lead hand. He had basic kicks, not anything flashy, basic kicks, decent head movement, and takedown defense. He was really good. Khabib, what was he good at? He had very basic stand-up that was good for defense, good shelling, but his grappling. He was able to compete and dominate. Floyd Mayweather, his Philly shell. He's mastered Philly shell, parry, cover, jab, hook. Here, just mastering a few things and working on that is going to get you so much farther. It really is, that's how it works. You want to focus on a few techniques. Study them, learn them, and then practice them a lot. That is key, especially when you talk about mastering a technique, right? How do you master a technique? There's only one way to master a technique, and this is like, yet again, for free, a freebie. That's a repetition. It's not the right spelling, but you get the idea. Repetition is the number one way to perfect any technique. You have to do it a lot of times. So rather than trying to do every technique you know and train that in training, you pick a few, 3 or 5 techniques, and that's all you work on. So if you're a boxer, let's say you just started boxing, what you want to work on? You don't want to work on the jab, the movement, the footwork, the head movement, the hooks, the swing, the angles, the tuck. You don't work on everything. It's going to be too much. You're going to be overwhelmed. For boxing, if you just started boxing, you're going to want to work on footwork, a jab, cross, hands, up. That's what you're going to want to work on for a beginner. And just focus on just that. If you get good footwork and jab and cross, keep your hands up, you are going to be way ahead of all beginners. Because all beginners, what do? They try to learn everything. They try to do everything. And when they do that, you master nothing. What's the saying? You do a lot of things, but you master none. That is how it works. Especially when you talk about sparring or fighting, anything like that. Mastering a few techniques is going to get you way farther. I guarantee you're going to be able to beat most people by doing that. Quite literally. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let's say you're trying to learn that, you're training that, and you're learning submissions. Learning the submissions a little bit, and it's okay. There's a ton of submissions. You take the same idea, rather than trying to learn every submission from full guard or guard, every submission from side control. No. Your idea is, okay, I want to break it down. I want to be smart. I'm going to try to work on and master a couple, two or three submissions. That's all I'm going to work on. It's like Jiu-Jitsu. You can work on practicing the arm bar, practicing different ways. You can practice favorites. The triangle choke, it's a great choke. You can learn how to set it up. And then you can put like Americana. That's one of the arm locks as well. So with these 3 submissions, you can do these 3 submissions in multiple guards in Jiu-Jitsu. So this is plenty enough. Some guys, they'll think, oh, well, like, I don't want to just do this, I want to do more, I want to do more. That's the wrong way to think about it. You don't want to, you want to master a few techniques and then move on. That's what I do when I go to seminars. I don't do every technique I learn there because it's too much, it's too much. You pick a few, 2 or 3, 2, 3, 5 the max. 5 is the very max. No more than 5. And you say, okay, I'm going to try to perfect or master these techniques. And then once I get that down, then I can start and try to move on a little bit. That's the whole point. So with Jiu-Jitsu, if you're presenting Jiu-Jitsu and you're basic beginner white belt, you can watch videos, just watch YouTube videos. YouTube's very good on the armbar, triangle choke, and Americana, and see how to get it from different positions, different guards. You can get the armbar from close guard, you can get the armbar from side control. You can triangle choke from close guard, you can triangle from back mount, triangle's a really good one, Americana top mount. You can watch that and see the different ways to get these 3 moves, and then you've mastered it. So now when you start rolling with guys, you're getting with one of these on lock every time. The beginners, at least. The beginners. Not everybody, the beginners. And so like with me, I'm still very beginner level in grappling, but you can bet your bottom dollar if I'm grappling somebody, a street fighter, whatever, and he's not like super good at grappling, I'm getting with a triangle choke or armbar, guaranteed. I can pull it off of close guard. I can pull it off of side control. I can pull it off of mount. I know how to, I can do it off of different positions. That makes me dangerous. By just not mastering every single submission I can think of, you know, the arm triangle, I could have put that arm triangle, is a good one. Arm triangle, umplata, kimura, this, no. You're missing the point. You wanna keep it simple, simple. Look at a few techniques and try to master, try to get down a couple. You do that, you're gonna be so much better. You're gonna build a strong foundation. Martial arts or anything building a house, you want a foundation, you want a base. So when you take the time, you say, okay, I'm not gonna do everything, I'm gonna work on 1 or 2 things, right? Let's say I'm learning Jeet-Kune-Do or boxing. I'm gonna work on my stance today. That's all I'm gonna do is learn on my stance, how to have my hands, how to have my feet, and that's all I'm gonna do is move around and work on the stance. All I'm gonna do today. Not, I'm gonna stance, I'm trying to punch, I'm trying to kick, I'm trying to do everything, I'm trying to sprawl, I'm trying to, no, you're gonna overwhelm yourself. It's not the way to do it. When you do that, when you work on a few techniques, you try to master it, you create a base. Once you master the 3 techniques, now you can start going up and say, okay, I'm doing boxing now. My jab, I only worked on my jab for 1 or 2 days straight, only the jab. No, it's a week, because that's realistic, because yet again, you're not just doing a few techniques just because, you're doing a few techniques to try to master it, which ultimately, you won't master it in totality because obviously you're gonna get better and better over the years, but you wanna do it enough times to get good at it. And when I say master it, I'm talking about you're doing the individual technique hundreds of times. That's the way you do it. When Jesse Glover would talk about Bruce Lee, he would talk about how they would train single techniques for thousands of reps. That's the only way you get good. That's the only way you get good. I don't care. You look at any martial art. The only way you can master any technique individually is by doing it thousands of times. Thousands. Not a few hundred, not a few, okay, jab, okay, I want to go next thing. That's not it. That's not it. You gotta think, any expert martial artist, a good boxer, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a Taekwondo person that can have great kicks, the only reason they're that good is because they've done it thousands of times. A good boxer, let's say a professional boxer, and let's say he's 0-1. He just had his first major fight and he's 0-1. I'm sorry, 1-0, good record. He just started out. The boxer to get to this level, to be a pro, has punched tens of thousands of times. He's been on the bag and has punched tens of thousands of the same boring punches over and 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 over again. That is how you master technique. From there, when you've got it down, because the whole reason why you do it thousands of times, you do it thousands of times so that when you do the technique in real life or in sparring, you don't have to think about it. That is the only way. That is why you can't run around and just be learning different techniques, learning techniques here, then go here, then learning here, then going here, then going here, then going here. No. That's why so many guys, they suck. They suck. That's why Bruce Lee in Jeet-Kune-Do, he talks a lot about simplicity. Keeping it simple. There's a lot of ways you can interpret that. But one way is to not overwhelm yourself. Take your time and try to master a few techniques, a couple, no more than 5. No more than 5. Practice those over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That is one of the things that traditional martial arts did get correct, was that in any karate, taekwondo, what do? You get in a horse stance and you practice punching. You practice punching. And you just do it for a ton of reps just cause. And the idea though is do it a lot of times. Just do it hundreds of times. That's the only way you master it. Because when you're in a fight, when you're in sparring, hard sparring, the guy's trying to take your head off, you need to not be able to think. You don't want to have to think. I'm telling you, when you are in that situation, the stress is up, anxiety is up, fear is up, anger is up, you're not going to think of the fine motor skills of a perfect cross, the fine motor skills of a lead punch, of a jab, of a hook. You're not going to be able to think of that in a real fight with stress on the line. I'm a firefighter. I don't know if y'all knew that, but I'm a firefighter, and I just made engineer, and the same concept applies in firefighting. In anything with stress, you can't think in a real life scenario. When I'm on the job and late at night, let's say 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm asleep, chilling, taking a nap on my phone, all of a sudden, we get the call in, respond on attack 1 to 312 Tate Street, engine 1, engine 2, engine 3, engine 14, 1-story house fire, someone trapped inside, we gotta go. When that happens, when I'm from a dead sleep, the tones go off, I wake up, my heart races because it's like, oh crap, it's a real fire, somebody's in there, I gotta go and get them out as fast as I humanly possibly can. With that, I don't have time to think of how to put on my gear. Okay, I gotta make sure I put it on this way, I do this way, okay, I got it this way, this way. I don't have time to do that. When I'm in the house trying to find the person, I can't think, okay, I gotta think, I'm pulling the hose here, I'm over here, I'm on air, my radio's here, I can't think. Because of the stress, your heart rate shoots up. It's beating like crazy. And you train and work on relaxing, staying calm under pressure. And yes, when you're doing that, you're not able to think of individual technique and how to do the technique perfectly in the moment. It's because I've done it so many times that I can perform under pressure. You know, people don't understand being a firefighter and stuff. When we get the call and we get the house fire, it'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, I was asleep, I was asleep 10 seconds ago. We get the call, house fire, someone's trapped inside. The house could be right next to the fire station. And so, I know the house, I hear the tones go off, I hear the directions. Oh, it's 2 Tate Street. That's a few blocks away. Oh crap, that's right there. We're like 30 seconds away. When that comes up, I have to run inside the truck as fast as I can and get dressed. I have to put all my gear on, my pants, my boots, my helmet, put on my O2 bottle or SCBA bottle, get on air, put my face suits on, make sure it's all correct. Make sure my gear's on right. I can't just throw my gear. If I throw it on and I come in here, I'm gonna get burned, I'm gonna die. So my gear has to be on correctly the first time before I get to that house. That's hard, I mean, we're rushing, we're going to drive as fast as we can, the house is around the corner. I have to be getting dressed inside the truck, swinging around and get dressed, have it on, be on air, so when I pull up, I'm getting out and going straight in the house. No time wasted. I can only do that because I've gotten dressed so many times. I've gotten dressed hundreds of times. I can only get dressed in the back of the moving fire truck, seeing the smoke and flames visible, getting dressed. I can only do that because I've done it hundreds of times. So that when I'm in the real situation, when the tells do go off, victims trap, multiple victims trap, we gotta go in. I don't have to think of how to get dressed. I don't have to think of what to do. I can just perform. So the same analogy goes with fighting, martial arts. When you're hard sparring, when you're sparring, or when you're fighting, you're not going to be able to think, especially when there's actual pressure, actual fear, actual anger. You're not going to be able to think of how to do the technique. So when I go to these seminars, I know that, look, to be able to use any of this stuff, no matter how good the technique is, to be able to use any of it, I have to have mastered the technique to where I don't have to think about it anymore. That I can just move. That is the whole point. I mean, you get in the flow state and all that stuff, but in a real fight, I have to know that I can just perform and not even have to make a conscious thought of how to do the technique, that I can just move. You only do that by doing the techniques thousands of times. That's the only way. So that's why I say you can only pick a couple techniques to start with. Pick a couple, and then practice doing those couple and doing them at the best of your ability, trying to get better each rep. Now, we're making it simple, because martial arts, you learn a lot of things that can be very overwhelming, very complex. You learn hundreds of techniques. You want to narrow it down, try to master a few to create a base. Now, let's say I'm doing boxing, and now in boxing, I got the footwork down, I got the feet, I got the jab, and I got my hands up. Now, once I got it down, I've been doing it for a week or two. Now I can say, well, now we can go up a level. Because now I have a foundation to fall back on. Now I can say, hey, now I can focus on the cross, hook, and then head movement. And then work on that. So that in real life, when I forget everything, I can fall back on my base. That's how it works in real life. You hear all the time military guys say, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall back on your level of training. What is your training? The stuff you've done hundreds and thousands of times. That's what you fall back on in real life. Because yet again, when you're stress, you won't be able to think. So, for real life stuff like self-defense stuff, that's why for the guys that teach and show, the first techniques that I show them are the finger jab, the low line side kick, and then how to punch with power, punching power. Because if you can get these three concepts down, you will win most fights. Most. Whether the guy has experience or not. Whether you're fighting a boxer or not. Because the way I teach and stuff, I go over like the real stuff of how to actually use this on other martial artists, advanced guys, boxers, wrestlers, MMA guys. Just by mastering three things, you're gonna beat more than 75 people. Most people off rip already. Because, and again, these are effective techniques in their own right. The way I teach my course and stuff, shout out to my course, it's in the link in the description. The description of this video, you go and look, you can find it, it's $10. But I teach these two things because these are very important. And when I talk about martial arts and stuff, it doesn't matter what style it is, any style. Something I learned from Guru Dan Desano, shout out Dan, he's awesome. Martial arts are really about concepts and principles. That's the whole thing of martial arts. That every martial arts, they have similar techniques. When you go back to old martial arts, the traditional ones, you look back, most all martial arts had a complete system. They had punching, kicking, and grappling. Most arts, even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, go back to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, they even still had stand-up. They had a basic stand-up, a basic low kick, and grappling. Every art back in the day had a totality about it. They had stand-up and grappling. Why? Because the traditional guys, the founders, were not dumb. They know that to fight, you could be on the ground, you could be standing up. You need to know a little bit of everything. That's why all the traditional martial arts had all of it. It's only a more of a modern concept where we only focus on one thing and just do that, like boxing. We only do kicking, taekwondo. But back in the day, people weren't dumb. Jiu-jitsu. I don't know if it's spelled right, but if you don't know, Jiu-Jitsu is just really the term for Japanese martial arts. So, all the Japanese martial arts, the samurai did and all that stuff, the shinobi, the ninjas, Jiu-Jitsu, they had stand-up, throws and locks, and grappling. Obviously, Jiu-Jitsu later developed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which focused on the ground. You know, and then of course we also have Gracie Jiu-Jitsu as well. The Gracie family, very big, made the UFC and stuff. But even their system has stand-up too. It's not just grappling. Kung Fu. Obviously, really the birthplace of most martial arts come from Kung Fu. Kung Fu has stand-up, clinching, and grappling. Okay? Wrestling, even like the old Greek wrestling, they had strikes involved as well. And then obviously like karate, obviously if you go back, the old karate, which really comes from Jiu-Jitsu. Yet again, they had all of it. They had all of it, because obviously you need all of it. So the way I teach, I understand that you need all of it, and I've done it, it's very important. But when I'm teaching somebody and they're new, we gotta go back. I can't show them all of it. I can't show them everything I know because it's gonna be confusing. They're not gonna retain it because I've done it. I teach guys 20 techniques and then they come back in a week and guess what they remembered? 0. That's how it works. You can't learn everything. I mean, it's overwhelming. You try to show someone 20 techniques. That's not how it works. So what I do now, and I've gotten good results, the way I teach, I know and understand that you do need all of it. And that's something you do need to know all of it. You do need to understand all of it, the stand up, the clinching, the grappling, the locks, because you never know what position you're gonna be in. You need to do weapons. You need to do disarms and weapons. This is very, very important too. You need to do all of it. But when I'm showing someone a beginner at basics, we can't do that. It's gonna be too overwhelming. So we work on really like 5 techniques, and we just drill a ton of those. But we work on them because, yet again, they can remember, if they get in a fight tomorrow, they'll be able to remember one of the 5 techniques they learned in class. They learn with me, and be able to do it. But if they learn 50 techniques in a real situation, they won't be able to do any of them because the stress, the adrenaline. But if we work on a few techniques, they're able to do them. And I've had success with it. I've had guys, and I'm gonna brag on my guys. You know, shout out to Spence and all those good guys, and Andrew and Brady and all of them and Zach. They have had to use stuff, and every time we've had a 100% success rate. None of the guys I've taught have ever got beat up. Why is that? It's not luck. Yet again, to be a teacher, to teach somebody, and I don't consider myself a teacher really, but I train some guys, try to help them. It doesn't matter if I can do the stuff. It doesn't matter if I can do martial arts. It matters if the guys I teach can do it. So the guys I teach, they're able to do it in real life every time, and it works 100%. None of them got beat up. This all stuff works. Why? We're coming back to a point. Because we only work on a few techniques. Because I start with the base. I say, okay, they came in, they want to learn something, we gotta start with the base. That's the most important thing. And that's what I want to teach you guys. That's what I'm teaching you. You're developing a solid base. You know, if you learn 20 million techniques, your base is like sand. Then you try to build on it. When it comes under pressure, it's gonna break. It's gonna blow up. It's not gonna work. You need a solid base. So when I teach guys, especially on the course, you'll see in real life, we go over basics. finger jab. We go over intercepting. And that whole principle, very simple stuff. And then obviously the low line side kick, stuff like that. Basic stuff first, punching power, speed, non-telegraphic movement, how to punch with no telegraph, all that stuff. Because you get those handful of techniques, you'll beat most people and you'll win every time. I mean, that's how it works. Because yet again, when you watch real fights or anything, the guys only use a few techniques. You watch martial artists in real fights, or UFC fighters in real fights, or boxers in real fights, they only do a few techniques. A fight only, this is the thing. Yet again, people don't understand. Yet again, I mentioned earlier, if they're not trained, two individuals that are just fighting like savages, the fight usually lasts about no more than 30 seconds. 30 seconds or less, that's how long the fight's gonna last. Most cases. Because when you talk about real life with human fists hitting the actual face, it only takes about 2 hits, 2 good hits with a human fist to take the guy out, to knock him out or severely rock him. So, when you talk about trained martial artists, guys that actually know their stuff, guys that are good, the fight should last no more than 10 seconds. Bruce Lee said this a lot. He tells students that the fight should not last more than 10 seconds if you know what you're doing. Why is it? Because you only need a few things to work. You only need a few things to work. You only need to get a few things. If you're doing judo, the judoka, he gets in a street fight, he only needs about 3 good throws. And those three judo throws he knows are gonna flip 90, probably 95% of people. That's the truth. And all they have to do is just get really good at those 3. That's reality, because in reality, you're not gonna be able to do everything you know. You're just not. That's how it works. You're just not gonna do it. So that's the whole idea. You want to dominate any art, you need to focus on mastering a couple techniques. Learn them. No matter what class you go to class good, that's great. Think, okay, we learned a lot of good stuff. What am I gonna work on for the next week or 2? And just work on that and master it. Once you have that base of the technique, then you can start adding to it. But only after you have it, a good grasp on it, so you feel like you can actually do the technique under pressure. Pressure, that's the whole point of this. When you master a couple techniques, 2 or 3, you're able to do them under pressure, now you can start building upon that foundation and add more stuff and get fancy. That's why, for stuff like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, very good art, it takes 10 plus years to get a black belt. Because you have to be able to do these techniques under stress and under pressure. But yet again, you go back to anybody, everybody only does a few techniques. And if you look at anybody, any great, they have few techniques that they're really, really good at. That is the point. Lastly, the reason why I train my guys with the stuff we just did, like the finger jab, low onside kick, if you've never done martial arts before, you just want to learn, you're just trying it out. Let's say you want to learn from me. We're going with finger jab first, finger jab. We're going to learn how to do it in multiple positions. Hands down, hands up like here, hands in your guard, different ways to do it. The reason we do this first, the reason this is number 1, is because if you can do this without thinking, and you hit somebody in the eye, it stuns them. They can't see for a few seconds. They don't want to fight anymore. When you do this in real life, you have really a 50% chance they don't want to fight you anymore off the rip. I've seen it. Most times you land a finger jab, they don't want to fight anymore. That's it. That's when Bruce was talking about simplicity. That now, you could have went to karate and learned 20 million techniques, or you take a week, you master a finger jab, This will help you so much further in real fights. Because now, you have a 50-50 shot, the guy's just not gonna want to fight anymore. But let's say he's a tough big guy, whatever. Yet again, I've seen it, I've done it. Even if they're big and strong, it doesn't matter. When you hit them in one eye, what happens? Both eyes close. You ever get something in your eye, you close both eyes. It's a natural instinct. So you hit them in one eye, both eyes close. What also happens, the head goes backwards. This gets them off balance. Now I can do whatever I want. So off of learning and mastering this one move, the finger jab, you have successfully raised your chance of winning a fight by a lot. A lot. To where most guys, they just master the finger jab and get good at it. They can just follow up, they can just do whatever they want after that and they'll win. Because you're gonna hit them in the eye, you're not gonna miss. That's why you practice it a lot, so you don't miss. You hit them in the eye, they close both eyes, the head goes back, and now you can punch, now you can kick, now you can knee, now you can elbow, now you can take them down. But the point is that for any of these techniques, to get to this, is to focus on a handful of techniques and master them. Do them hundreds of times, and then go to the next one. You can any art, any discipline. If you do that, you'll be very good, my friend, and you will be beating everybody. That is the secret. And if you look very closely, the best guys in martial arts are doing this. So you should be too. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this, let me know down in the comments. And lastly, be sure to subscribe. If you want to learn from me the actual real stuff like this, I have a $10 course, very cheap and affordable. $10 course in the description of this video down below. Click, you'll find it. With that out the way, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace. Keep training. See you guys in the next video.